Dum, dum. All right. Post this shit. All right. Let's get it.
Let's get it.
All right. So part two of the off-season grades. We went
Yes,
through.
sir.
We went through the majority of the league, but we still got 5 teams left. Um, so far, top three grades. I don't believe we done gave out. Let's see. What you give the Cavs call out? A minus, B plus.
Yeah, something like
You
that.
gave
Yeah.
Grizz. What you give Grizz? You gave A minus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay. You got a A.
Did I?
Yeah, I gave you an A, I think. Yeah.
No, just-
And then, yeah. So I think I'm just trying to see if anybody Hornets. Hornets. So far, Hornets, Grizz, Knicks, top three, and then Cavs, and I think the Cavs and Bulls had pretty good grades too overall.
Mhm.
So okay, we got people starting to tune in. Got people starting to tune in. All right, so first team up. First team up. The New Orleans Pelicans. The
Okay,
year
players.
year one champions. And then we're
Mm-hmm.
and then lost in the second round of the playoffs last year, season two.
Mm-hmm.
So they took a step back. So let's say call out it gave me a B minus. I ain't letting that shit go.
I love it.
um, so Pelicans took a step back. They did make a big move and added Porzingis last year. But
Mm-hmm.
after making that big move, it didn't work out for them. They pushed Portland to 7 games, which was a game decided by Buddy Hield and Aaron Gordon in Game 7. So
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, I don't know if we're gonna start looking at his off season, okay, but we got to figure out, you know, did he need like the improvements that he made? Is it gonna help him, get past Portland, or improve him over any other teams in the West? So let's go ahead and
Mm-hmm.
kick it off. Kick it off. So he brought back Norman Powell
Mm-hmm.
on a
Great
solid
contract.
deal. Yeah, that's a solid deal.
Mm-hmm.
Three-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
He's 29. Norman Powell he gonna be good this year. He gonna probably be good again next year. Probably the tail
Mm-hmm.
end of that deal. I mean, the contract is very tradable, so I think he locked
Mm-hmm.
him into a good deal considering how well he played in the playoffs for him. Norman
Mm-hmm.
Powell, he got him from the Grizz in another deal that when the Grizz got null. And Powell,
Mm-hmm.
right now he's off to a slower start, but last year he played a key role in their team, especially starting for the Pelicans in the
Mm-hmm.
playoffs. Um, they also have they re-signed Avery Bradley, they signed Ben McLemore, who is looking to be a rotation guy for them. Also signed Rodney Hood, who is looking to be a rotation guy. Currently shooting
Mm-hmm.
56% from three with him, 11 points per
Mm-hmm.
game. Solid 77 overall, 30 years old. He also got Jakar Sampson, so he has a lot of minimum contract guys that he's trying to fill on the back end. But he has
Mm-hmm.
improvements from Kerry Lewis, who the Pelicans front office really likes. Hayes, who is on the final year of his deal. It'd be interesting to
Mm-hmm.
see what he does with Jackson Hayes this
Mm-hmm.
year, with him coming up on free agency. Also Zion, I know he's looking to, Zion's gonna get the max, next year
Mm-hmm.
easily.
Right.
And then every other guys, he got Porzingis, which is also he got a player option next year.
Mm-hmm.
Porzingis got a player option that's possible. He could opt out. So Pelicans right now looks like, judging by their off season, they're looking to run it back pretty much. And
Mm-hmm.
which is understandable. They're year one champs. They added Porzingis, so you may think, you took Portland to 7 games, who made it to the finals. So it's possible. A couple other bounces and you get to the finals. So I do like the at the end of the day, I still like how the Pelicans are constructed. I'll be more interested to see what they do during the season with the pieces that they have. Um, I think in terms of, you can go ahead before we do off-season grade for them. Go ahead, color.
Oh, you good? Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is probably one of the easiest ones we've done because it's pretty much the exact same team. He really didn't make too many major moves. Of course, bring back Norman Powell, great contract, but pretty much Rodney Hood pretty much be backing up Brandon Ingram, and Ben McLemore may or may not be a rotation guy. Just seeing the fact that he has Norman Powell and Carol Lewis ahead of him as far so he's here, but I mean, I don't really see him being a essential part of the offense. So pretty much, after losing the 7 games, it seems like his estimate was, let me go get Rodney Hood. But of course, they didn't have a lot of flexibility financially. With having Porzingis under contract, Bi under contract, and all the deals are pretty friendly. So it'll be interesting to see how he maximizes the off season. I mean, the trade deadline for one, but also because I know the offseason Zion will definitely be back. I'm sure that's not
Mm-hmm.
enough for discussion. Max deal. Porzingis will be interesting because if he opts out, he'd of course make him an unrestricted free agent. I'm sure he can offer him a 5-year deal, but at the same time, at 28 years old, not sure if he'll be willing to give him that at his particular price range. But we'll see how that goes, or if he gonna probably explore the options, especially seeing the fact that DeAndre Ayton will be a unrestricted free agent because of
Mm-hmm.
what we'll get to that in a second. But so I think it'll be interesting to see how things go. But we'll see how things go. So I mean, I think for him, I mean, it's a real simple grade. I just think he had an average off season, so I'm giving him an average grade. I just give him a C minus. I mean, you right there.
Okay.
Ain't nothing special
Okay.
about it.
Okay. I was going with a C, so I think that's about right. C, C minus. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, not that it was he did anything wrong. I just think, at this point, it was only certain things that he needed to do. He brought back the core guys, and he gonna give it another run before, his team gonna have more money for the next offseason. So okay, I like
Mm-hmm.
that. I like that. All right, next up we got the San Antonio Spurs. San Antonio Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
Spurs were a team. They've once they made a coaching change. Pop is no longer the coach for the Spurs for the first time since 97,
It's
96.
so hard to say goodbye. Okay, Pop back. We gonna miss you, Pop.
I mean, that's so, and he's replaced by Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan,
Mm.
uh, former Spurs great, and was on the assistant coach
Mm-hmm.
side near the Pop last year or last couple of years. So it's
Mm-hmm.
interesting to see what Pop. I mean, Timmy Duncan is going to do with Pop being in Washington now. We'll talk about that a little
Mm-hmm.
bit later. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but So let's go into the Spurs. Let's go into the Spurs. Let's look at the transaction list first for them. Let's see what happened over the
Okay.
offseason. So one of the key guys that was people were looking for with the Spurs was Lonnie Walker the four. Lonnie Walker
Mm-hmm.
really, and we could take a good look at him right quick. Let's see where we gotta go. Where we gotta go. Let's see. Lonnie Walker he's been having one hell of a year or last couple years under the Spurs regiment. He averaged 19
Mm-hmm.
points per game in his first season under the Spurs GM and 22 points right now. Um, Actually, he averaged 8.9 points in year one, 19 points last year, and 22 points this year. Shooting has been better. It's been trending upward every year. He was a key
Mm-hmm.
piece for them to have. Probably one of the best wings on the team, if not, probably could argue the best outside of former Depoy Murray. So it
Mm-hmm.
was key for him to bring Walker back, and he brought him back on a solid contract too. The
Mm-hmm.
contract is very favorable for what Walker gives him, and it doesn't hurt him financially overall at all. 3 years, 44 mil. He also brought
Mm-hmm.
in a few other guys, a few veteran players, Andre Roberson, JJ Redick, Marc Gasol. I think Tim Duncan wanted some veterans on the roster, according to
Mm-hmm.
sources, and
Mm-hmm.
he added some veteran leadership. Cam Johnson, who's also going to be a key acquisition for him.
Absolutely.
I'm really surprised.
We're
The
gonna get to
Suns, yeah, I'm really surprised the Suns let Cam Johnson walk. Cam Johnson overall, looking at him right now, he has a 91 3-point shot, 84 mid range. He's 6'8". He's 6'8", 3'4". Overall, solid player. He's pretty average defensively, but he's not gonna hurt you, given him being 6'8". He's currently averaging 12 points a game with them now, shooting 40% from three. That was a very solid pickup. Considering Cam is not too many guys got a 90 plus three on the game. And
Mhm.
so overall, I like that pickup with Cam Johnson. He got corner specialist badge, 2-year deal, so it's not hurting them at all either. Outside of that, the Spurs kept everything pretty straightforward, which is typically Spurs fashion for the most part. When you think
Mhm.
about it, they got their three core pieces: Collins, Anunoby, and Murray. And you add Lonnie Walker to that, and then they have Jakob Pertl, Cam Johnson, who they brought in, and Devin Vassell. So they have a pretty, and then they have McCallum as well, the shooter.
The shooter
Um,
Bakalu.
the shooter, he got a 93 point
Mhm.
shot. So, and also the vets, and then you have Cisse who might be coming in and playing a key role for him this year as well. What's your thoughts on the
Mhm.
color?
Spurs, honestly, to me, they kind of remind me similar what the Pelicans did. Kind of just kept it simple, ran it back for the most part. But just like the Pelicans, like, to your point, the Spurs are in a similar position. Like you kind of bring back the same team, virtually the exact same team, and that's a good look. But at the same time, it's kind of one of those things to where we got the same team, so we want to see if we can kind of get past what we got because of course he same thing got put out by the Portland Trail Blazers in 4 games. So and the Pelicans got put out in 7 games, but neither team really made a move to say let me try to offset what the Portland Trail Blazers did or what the Memphis Grizzlies did or what it can be to try to get out their Western Conference. So it'll be interesting to see how his team improves. Of course, the players have improved overall, but like I said, I think I like the Cam Johnson move a lot. I definitely think he's going to fire space, and I love the fact he brought back Lonnie Walker. And honestly, with a different voice in that locker room by letting Tim Duncan lead the way, I think it's going to be interesting to see exactly how they can excel, especially when it comes to the playoffs, because it's kind of like a shoe in right now. We know the guys are going to be in the playoffs regular season. It's going to be, what it is. It's all about seeding, but for the most part, it's going to be about those matchups, how you maximize those matchups. So I think the San Antonio Spurs defensively are one of the best teams. However, I also think that they have a situation to where they don't really have that closer. Ever since they lost DeMar DeRozan, having that one guy who can just no matter what, I can go get you a bucket. But I also think that they're going to feel like this Lonnie Walker. Lonnie Walker, they brought him back, and I think that he has a very high ceiling. And I think he can blossom into actually being one of these young superstars in the league, along with, of course, John Collins and Murray is solid. But Murray's more of a, he's a game manager, but he's great defensively. And of course, he kind of struggles from the perimeter sometimes as far as the three ball. But we know that he can get to the lane. He gonna guard the opposing team's best defensive player. And of course, it's the reigning defensive player of the year. So I hope that Lonnie Walker can really complement him, but also uh, in, pretty much oversee what he did last year. Really be that closer that they need to really get them over the top to kind of hopefully come out of the Western Conference.
Okay, great.
With that, I mean, I think, like I said, I think I'll give him a C plus, just because at the end of the day he kind of kept his guy. But I like Cam Johnson definitely more. Like I said, it was an average move, but at the end of the day, he playing with Vassell and OG. He'll probably play some 3-4, but at the end of the day, he playing behind starters. So see how he'll fit him in the rotation, similar to what Rodney Hood is dealing with, except he's 26 years old, younger, got a lot more basketball in him compared to Rodney Hood. So I gave him a C minus. I gave him a C plus. So take it from there.
Okay, okay. I like that. I like that. I think it's more so seeing how they perform um when they come to the playoffs because they got a solid team overall, and then
Hmm.
they also got pieces they can move too. Which that's why I'm like
Hmm.
it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing because they got a lot of friendly contracts, a lot of young talent. Now it's just kind of seeing, what they do with it, whether they keep them
Hmm.
together or and run it back, or decide to move a piece or something like that. So I like that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, okay. That's next up. A team I think we mentioned a couple times already. We got the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns. This was a team who was
DJ.
this was a team who had a tough year one. They had a tough year one with Devin Booker and decided to trade him. You Right. They had a tough year, but with that they were blessed. Traded Devin Booker to New York Knicks, but they were ended up blessed with the third pick overall, and Jalen Green fell to them. So
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Green was taken third overall, and they also got a pick from New York in that trade, and was able to take Scotty Barnes, which was comfort. It was a pretty controversial pick at the time, considering who was on the board. But they've been
Mm-hmm.
progressing forward. So let's take a look at them. You can't get a secret if you didn't have cap space. All right, we'll address some questions at the end. We'll address some questions at the end. So you got Phoenix Suns. So first, let's start off on the transaction side, on who they
Uh,
signed. Let's see. So let's start off. So two key transactions. I'm actually gonna say those two for last. But we got one big transaction they made was they signed DeAndre Hunter away from Toronto, 3 years, 60 mil. They also made a big transaction. This was a guy that was highly sought after this offseason. 3 years, 56 mil for Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart, who
mm-hmm.
is excellent defender, one of those better defenders in the league. And he's
Mm-hmm.
going to be key. He can play next to Jalen Green. He can play next to either his guards that he got. Uh, I do like that signing, and it'll just kind of depend on how that signing looks overall on the bigger picture. Once we get into maybe next off season. He also got
Mm-hmm.
Taco Fall on a $2.5 million deal for 1 year.
Taco.
Brand Taco Fall's probably been moved around. Let me see. Taco had been Man, he's been traveling, dog. Like this nigga Taco.
Mm-hmm.
He was with Boston his first year's rookie year. Then he went to Charlotte. Then he was with Seattle for a little bit in the
Jesus
Lakers.
Christ.
I guess yeah, Seattle traded him to the Lakers. Then he went from the Lakers. Now he in Phoenix. So let's see what he does with Phoenix. This year. But
Mm-hmm.
the two dudes I do wanna the two dudes I do wanna talk about though is DeAndre Ayton and McCall Bridges. So not exactly sure what happened here, but the
Mm-hmm.
strategy seems to be these two guys came back on their qualifying offer. So
Mm-hmm.
them two guys came back on their qualifying offer, meaning they're gonna be unrestricted next year. So there's no protection on either of these guys for Phoenix when they hit the market next year, and they're gonna be unrestricted players. So even though they got Hunter, they got Smart, they got those two guys, you know, while sacrificing Aiden, who Aiden, ain't no joke. He put up 20 and 14
Mm-hmm.
for him, 2 blocks last year, you know, 19 and
Mm-hmm.
13. Mike
Right.
said, let's go, Aiden. 19 and 13 this year so far. I mean, he got 12 finishing badges, one playmaking badge, two
Mm-hmm.
defensive badges. I mean, Aiden the beast on here. So it'll be interesting to see. But the free agent market next year is gonna be pretty interesting. So it really depends on how he may utilize his cap space too, with Hunter and Smart locked
Mm-hmm.
in. Clarkson gonna have a player option next year as well. Other guys that he brought in, let's see. He had a pretty quiet offseason outside of those two players. But, really
Mm-hmm.
this team is going to go as Jalen Green go. Jalen Green is, the number one player on this squad, the star player. He averaged 23 his rookie year, averaging 24 now, 24, 7 boards. So this team is going to go as Jalen Green goes, regardless. Marcus Smart, Hunter are good defensive players. He has them surrounded with good defensive players. So and he got eight in another year too. So overall, this is a pretty deep
Mm-hmm.
team. You must say so. What you think?
Honestly, I mean, I like his offseason. I think seeing the fact that for one of them, you lost Terry Rozier, but that small backcourt that they had last year with Devontae Graham and Terry Rozier, it was serviceable. but it kind of hurt him in the playoffs. Especially matching up against bigger guards like Jamal Murray last year in the first round against the Denver Nuggets. So having Marcus Smart in a situation like that would be a whole lot more conducive, especially seeing the fact you got him and Jalen Green, and then now you can bring Graham off the bench along with Jordan Clarkson. So now you have two guys who have been, six man of the year candidates, kind of coming off the bench as being dynamic scorers for you off the bench, and not have to really worry about guarding the team's best offensive player in the starting lineup. So I like that for them. I really like DeAndre Hunter, but it also gives you another defender, another big wing defender who can do multiple things. He's also good insurance for, like you talked about earlier with Mikal Bridges. Also with Royce O'Neal, so I think the guys that he's bringing around. My biggest concern for him really is more is at the power forward position. I mean, I like Jalen Smith. He's still, got a long ways to go, I think, from a development standpoint. But Scotty Barnes is also one of those guys. He's solid, but I don't know if they're necessarily the best complementary players next to DeAndre Ayton. But we'll see exactly what that is, because outside of Jalen Green and DeAndre Ayton, who's going to be that third guy? Like, who's that guy for a fact you can depend on to go get you a bucket? Hopefully, and he got a lot of guys he can kind of throw in the booth and kind of see how that comes out. What Jordan Clarkson can bring you off the bench, but in that star lineup, who is it? I mean, is it DeAndre Hunter? Is it Miles Bridges? Is it Jalen Smith? So it'll be interesting to see exactly how that plays out. But overall, I really think that he made some solid improvements. I know R.J. Barrett kind of struggled in Phoenix, coming from him in the New York trade, and especially after him getting off on Devin Booker. So it was looking very bleak in Phoenix. So for him to trade his best player in year one and be able to make the playoffs in year two, it'll be interesting to see how he does in this upcoming season, because it seems like the team is in the right direction. I think he has a vision on what he wants for his team, and I think this is kind of the team that he's wanted to build. So I'm curious to see how things go forward for them in this offseason. So I like it.
Okay. Great. I forgot about RJ too. RJ not being there.
He in Sacramento.
Yep. So all right. So grade. Suns grade.
I mean, he lost what? R.J. Barrett,
Beard.
Terry Rozier. Who else? Who else he lose?
He didn't lose. I don't think
Is
he
it
lost anybody else key, but he brought Aiden and Bridges on
Cam
qualified off.
Johnson? He lost Cam
Oh yeah,
Johnson
Cam
as
Johnson.
well.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I don't really like what he did with with his two best. One of his guys he kept. I mean, because this is kind of like a prove it type of year, but he really got lost a lot of his flexibility with the Bridges and Aiden. So these grades are really stemming off what you did right and wrong. So I think in that particular way, them contracts, if they were long-term deals, especially for Aiden, I think it's great to be higher. But because of that, I have to give him a C plus for that. I like the Smart acquisition, but I'm not
Mm-hmm.
too big of a fan of that contract for DeAndre Ayton.
Mm-hmm.
That's too dangerous.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I mean, I was a big fan of y'all season last year, DJ, but this year I'm gonna go with a C minus. I just think, and I guess it's just gonna depend on how you come out with the cap space next year. But I just think,
hmm
losing Aiden at 24 years old, he's 86. There's not too many bigs under 25 that's better than him on this game. So
hmm
I think it would have been better if he would have, locked him in salary, kind of filled in for next year, and he still would have been able to, and he probably could still keep him though. So it's
Yeah.
possible, but we'll see how it turns out for Phoenix. I do like them as a playoff team. They did make the playoffs. DJ messed up with the
Right.
sign and shake my head.
hmm
Uh, I ain't DJ, but yeah, he's a playoff team. He was a playoff team last year after missing it the year before. So I think year three, this gonna be the year to. I thought I did it right. This will be the year to determine if this is the right core. Maybe if they make a bigger run, he may throw more cash at Aiden just to go and try to bring him back unrestricted if possible,
hmm
along with Bridges too. Okay, sound good. Sound good. Next, we got Keno said you did Cam Johnson right. Jay Solo said Aiden's supposed to be a
Hey, it's
bull.
supposed to be a bull.
All right, next up, we got the Seattle Supersonics, formerly known as the Portland Trailblazers, formerly known as the Oklahoma City
Jesus
Thunder.
Christ. He
We
ain't moving no
got
more. You are banned from moving another team.
this is
Sheesh.
a team who got one of the most unguardable players in the league in Buddy Hield. And you had to really
Man.
ask the question, how does Buddy Hield, like who fits around Buddy Hield? That's what you had to go into the offseason talking about. Because at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, Buddy, I mean, he's a dominant player. He's a dominant player. The way he was looking early on, you would have thought, he went through every single West contender essentially last year in the playoffs. You would have thought,
Mm-hmm.
Portland was going to run through everything, and New York and Kawhi in New York had something else to say about it. So, at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the day, with Portland now Seattle being that close and making the NBA Finals run and missing out, they wanted to add a key
Mm-hmm.
piece to what they got going with SGA, Buddy Hield, Jalen Johnson, who's a young guy, Jared Allen, who's a key
Mm-hmm.
piece, very key piece, and the baby Dirk Poku as well. And they were able to go acquire Jalen Brown from Boston. Jalen Brown from Boston. So probably one of the bigger names that were moved. I never got the trade on here, but yeah. So one of the bigger names that were moved um, in the offseason last year, and what they ended up sending out to get him was Evan Mobley. We all know Evan
Mm-hmm.
Mobley. He was the fifth pick in the first draft in 2021. So he went to
Mm-hmm.
Boston. Darius Baisley, who was developing well, and um, he's a three. He's a three currently in Boston too. He went out. They also sent out Seth Curry, who they eventually cut, and which I don't know why. And then he sent also
Mm-hmm.
two future first round picks, one of them being the computer first, protected, lottery protected with Miami. And I think it was another first, a future first. I can't think of what it is. But let's see how this team stacks up based on last year, though. So you got
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Brown, they acquired. He's their best player overall rated. And he just tended to kept everybody else outside of those guys involved in that trade. He did add
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Anderson. Kyle Anderson is a key piece for him. Nerlens Noel, who was a key piece. He's always been a key big on this game. He has 5 defensive badges, gold rim protector, good defensive
Yeah,
big.
I don't like that.
Um,
Stay away from my Nerlens.
and then he got baby Dirk Poku, who, he's a good player. He's somebody that I think OKC is looking to keep long term. He also added some other guys, Will Barton, Alec Burks. And this was a team that didn't necessarily need to change anything. They just needed to make a move, an impactful move. And I think they made that by getting Jalen Brown. Um, what you
Mm-hmm.
think, Colo?
Um, the of course I don't even know what name. The Sonics. Sheesh, so many. Couldn't even get the daggone name right. But seriously, I mean, all jokes aside, with that man to miss the playoffs year one and that big struggle he had, and to make it to the finals year two, I mean, I think he definitely cashed in all his chips and his assets. Because one thing about having a lot of assets, it's cool to have, but eventually you got to turn them chips in. And I think to target a guy like Jalen Brown, I think really fits what he's trying to do. Um, as far as having that 3 and D guy, but also a guy that complements Buddy Hield who can also close games. And you got to make a decision. Can Jalen Brown is he gonna be my guy that I need to focus on stopping? And if you do that, that means you might got one-on-one matchups. And I definitely expect him to kind of let Jalen Brown have a bigger role than he's probably ever had, being a guy who's going to definitely be the primary scorer, but he's also going to be the primary or secondary playmaker in a lot of situations. Which means if you got one-on-one situation with Jalen Brown, that means you gonna have one-on-one situation with Buddy Hield. And if Jalen Brown make that pass, you might be out of position. So I love the mentality that they came up with that, and I think that's good for him going forward. And it pretty much kind of hang on to your key guys. I mean, I know I like Evan Mobley, but to replace him with, you still got Baby Dirk, as he like to call him. So you got Kyle Anderson, Noel, and then of course you had to get rid of Baisley, but you still got Jalen Johnson. So that's the thing about having them assets and still be able to keep a few. But also, he traded some of them picks as well. So I think he in a good position. I think by default he has to be the favorite to still come out of the West because he kept the vast majority of his depth. He kept his best player in Buddy Hield, and he added a player that's better than Buddy Hield, via trade. And I think that's about maximizing your assets, and then the fact that in the offseason, pretty much, he still got flexibility because he got shot on that long term deal. Papa Shepsey got a team ops and Jalen Johnson got a team ops. So a lot of these guys still gonna be here. He ain't got to worry about re-signing nobody. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? He can let and then have Otto Porter, Schroeder on team options. He can just let Otto Porter go if he needs to, and then use that money elsewhere. So he has a lot of flexibility to probably bring in another MLE guy and probably another guy in through the draft. So I think they're definitely in a great position. So with that being said, I definitely got to give him honest. I got to give him A. I ain't gonna lie, I got to give him A. That was big, good
Mm-hmm.
offseason.
Okay. I give him A. I was thinking A.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
said, what he said on my, what the hell? Okay. All right. So the last team, we got the Washington Wizards. The Washington Wizards. I'm gonna let you go first on this one, Carl, because I gotta take this call right quick. So you
Take
go
your
first.
call, big dog.
All
I
right.
got you. All right, man. Let's talk about these Wizards. I know y'all can't see my screen. Dead sharing the screen, but I'm gonna kind of walk through everything with this one, man, while he's taking that call. So the Washington Wizards, man, they have by far had one of the, let me find a solid word, wackiest first 2 years in the my league. I mean, if I can read some of these transactions to you, man, it's kind of mind-boggling. I mean, because realistically, they have went from they done got Blake Griffin, they done traded Westbrook for Brogdon, they done got Jeremiah Grant, they done, you know what I'm saying? They just been willing and dealing, but with no substance. Really no substance, just kind of making deals to be making deals. Um, so looking at it right now, you re-sign Bradley Beal, but you give him a 1 year deal. You know what I'm saying? Like 1 year deal for Bradley Beal. So when he picked up his, I'm sorry, Bradley Beal picked up his player option. So he's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. So Bradley Beal gonna be back out there. So if y'all want him, cool. Beal picked up his player option. So you got Beal back. You got Brogdon back, whatever. You got Hachimura, Avija, PJ, Jeremiah Grant, whatever. But in free agency, pretty much, Dez, you got your screen up, right?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah, yeah. Like you signed Chris Dunn to back up Malcolm Brogdon. Now he's a very good defender. But that's pretty much what he do. He just play defense. Chris Dunn is a guy who's a lot older than you would think. I mean, he's 28 years old. Got him on a good deal, 1 year, 2.17. But he literally just out there playing defense. You ain't got to worry about him really doing nothing else offensively. But he's out there to play D. Um, of course, then you get Aaron McKinney. Okay, Aaron McKinney is a guy who been in and out the league since I've been in high school. I don't understand how he's still around, but he just in and out the league. The same guys you brought back, Hachimura, PJ Grant, and you signed Daniel Gafford, okay? Pretty decent sign, and the former Charlotte Hornet, the great Luke Cornett. Um, like them your centers, like Daniel Gafford and Luke Cornett are your center. Um, I mean these are guys where they're rebounding is C minus and D minus. Like your best rebounder is Avija, small forward. Your second best rebounder is Jay Sean Tate, a
All right,
6'4"
Sean.
small forward. Jay Sean Tate is the second best rebounder on this team. You don't have one big with B or more rebounder. That's absolutely horrible. And you made the playoffs last year, but this is how you combat it by doing absolutely nothing to improve your team. So I'm highly disappointed. I mean, outside of Daniel Gafford's age, it ain't really nothing else to really be excited about as far as off-season moves. Like he's a 24-year-old backup center at best. I mean, he got gold rim protector, but he ain't gonna get no position on no board. So he just kind of just there. So I mean, he's solid. He can't shoot. He just inside defense and no rebounder. So that could have been used on somebody else. But at the end of the day, tomato tomato. We gonna see how this go. So that's all I gotta say about that. That ain't really nothing to be excited
Mm-hmm.
about at all. I'm gonna go ahead.
I mean, only thing I say is I thought, I mean, they giving Pop was a nice little look, but I think, which probably triggered Bill to stay, pick up that option. But I think, this is a team. I think right now they're in a place where they're looking at a strong retool or rebuild next year. Bill,
Mm,
Brogdon, Grant. all those guys are coming off the books. Whether you want to keep Hachimura or not. I mean, essentially, he's looking at 99 million in cap room next year, almost 100 mil. So it looks like he's just kind of riding the coast right now. But it'll be interesting to see what he does going into this year four. Um, but Repeat says, so the Wizards getting a better grade than me. We ain't gave the grade out yet, Repeat. So, Wizards, it's it's a weird team right now. It's a weird team, weird structure, but he may have enough to make the playoffs. They usually make a strong push at the tail end of the year. So we should see them, making the playoffs, and then we'll see what happens, with Bill, Brogdon, Green. Got a lot of key guys coming off the books, so it'll be interesting to see who they add. This is a team who's not afraid to go after the big names. He went after LeBron James at one point
Mm-hmm.
in the previous league, so we already know what he got his mind on. So, yeah. So grade, um, I mean the PJ Washington contract. I forgot to highlight that. I just think honestly the PJ Washington contract was pointless just because he got Hachimura and he has Jeremy Grant, two guys who are just as good, if not better, than PJ Washington on this game. I think he
Mm-hmm.
would have been better off putting that money into a five like Nurkic or somebody like that.
Absolutely.
Having a five out
Valanciunas.
there. There's plenty of fives out there. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
and Kuno made a good point. I can definitely see PG Paul George going to Washington next year, some sort of way. I don't know if I think PG got he under contract, but I know he's been one guy that this Washington team loves, absolutely loves. He has 2 years left. Well, he has 3 years left currently. 2 years after this year. But he has a big number, 44.5 million next year at 33 years
Mm-hmm.
old, 48 mil at 34. So it'll be interesting to see what this Wizards team do. But as a grade, I don't like the fact that I guess he felt he had to spend money, and I just don't like the fact he spent that on PJ Washington. That could have been
Mm-hmm.
more cap room you have, going to this off season. So in the next off
Mm-hmm.
season, I mean. So I'll give him I mean, just for strictly off of what he did, I give him a D.
Yep. That's the exact grade. DD. And I ain't talking about the chick that live across the street. That's your grade.
Okay. So this was that's it.
Question.
That's it. So I mean, we'll take some questions if anybody got any. But I think overall, the best off seasons went to the two teams that made it to the finals last year. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then also, who else? Who else? I know I had the A minus, and then Keith. So two
Mm-hmm.
teams that made the finals last year, the Hornets and the Grizzlies. Top four
Mm-hmm.
off seasons. I think overall, I think it's getting more and more competitive now. So year three
Mm-hmm.
gonna be interesting with the constructions that happen with these different teams and kind of how that's gonna go. It's gonna be interesting to see how things look after this year too. It's a lot of different
Mm-hmm.
things that could happen after this year that could really just the whole league could really be looking different. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I know earlier you said that BHB had a question about his grade. You want to address that right quick?
yeah, we can. I
Okay.
mean,
Just real quick.
let me be it now. The Pelicans got what, a C minus, C plus.
Yeah. Yeah. I gave him C minus. Yeah.
Yeah, I gave him a C plus. I mean, I think the way we look at it is, like said, address his too. I think the
Okay.
way I look at the Pelicans is, you know, they made their big move with Porzingis. Now, off-season grades to
Mm-hmm.
me is strictly based on what you did. Like, what did you do in that off-season? And then
Right.
I have to kind of factor in how your future look from there. So at the end of the day, I think they made their move. Like they Pelicans had a good offseason last year. I think I gave them a good grade. But this year, I think with them taking a step back, um, and even though I think we didn't get a chance to see a lot of, play them play a lot of teams in the playoffs. I mean, they definitely held their own against the Blazers, but I think right now they're looking a little bit different. They brought back Powell, but they didn't bring back any other. At the moment, we don't know who them other difference makers going to be outside of Porzingis, Bi, and Zion. You know what Lonzo is, and then we have to see what he do with Jackson Hayes. So I think
Hmm.
although his offseason grade was average, I don't think he did more, this offseason to help him get better. But I think he, did enough to run it back, which I think he made the right decision on that.
Hmm.
But I just think talent for talent, he didn't like add a whole bunch of talent for him to get a better grade than that. Um,
Hmm.
but that's it. What about you?
I mean, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, man, it ain't from a like at the end of the day, whatever you do with your team is cool. But if you're limited on what you can do, you maximize on that one player. You know what I'm saying? But and that's cool. But like you said, the biggest thing is it wasn't the player that you got was a average move. It wasn't an above average move. It wasn't like with that player you end up getting somebody that was like, oh damn, this is a quote unquote you know true player that's gonna really make a difference on my team. I think a backup small forward to me is just especially depending on what kind who they backing up. Backing up somebody like Brandon Ingram, you're not going to play a lot of significant minutes. You could probably play with him, but at the end of the day, that ain't gonna really be that big of a difference. But do I think it's a solid move for what you did as far as not having enough money? Yeah, but I don't think it's gonna be a situation to where it's like, bam, like man, this is it. Like this is. I don't think it's gonna be a difference between you getting better than what you were last year. Is what I'm saying. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? So and then as far as with Rico, I love the Cam Johnson move. I do. I like the fact that he brought back Lonnie Walker as well. That's why I say I think yours was it was still, but it was still like you know average. Like at worst, I say C plus. So worst case, I mean the best case would be B minus. Just because you were able to keep Lonnie Walker, who was actually coveted. But as far as the
mm,
actual free agency signing goes, I like the fact you brought back Lonnie Walker, and I like the fact that you signed Cam Johnson. I just know with Cam Johnson, as far as being a consistent rotation player, because like you said earlier, is like having the depth that they got in those positions. It'll be interesting to see if their roster stands pat as is, and then once you get to the playoffs, how will those players you sign, how will they make a difference? So
mm. I agree.
as far as being key guys, that's all.
I agree. And then also, when we have these grades too, we kind of gotta have a base. So whoever getting them A's or A, whatever it is, that's kind of like the base. And then,
Hmm.
we kind of have to use that as like, all right, did this person have a better off season than this team? You know,
Absolutely.
so I think that's also a big piece. The guys who probably got same or higher grades, added guys like, Jimmy Butler, added Zach Levine or added Clay
Hmm.
Thompson, so it's nothing to be like getting B's and stuff like that in the off season ain't like a bad thing. It's just kind of tiered
Hmm.
based on who got like the best guys and who kind of structured the best kind of roster during that time frame. So that's kind of
Right.
how I view it.
Right. And BHB said he's relying on the court. And I know you are. You know what I'm saying? I know you're relying on your court, which is the right thing to do, which is why, like, as far as Rodney Hood and Ben McLemore, like, Rodney Hood, I'm not even going to mention Ben McLemore because, like I said, he's not a rotation guy based off the way the roster appears to be constructed, which is fine. But, of course, you got to fill out your roster with guys just in case we have a lot of injuries on this game. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, oh my goodness, if such and such step gets hurt, I know Ben McLemore can step in. It's not that type of thing, unfortunately. I wish it played a bigger part in the game. I wish it hadn't kind of played a part in the game like Madden, but it doesn't. So it kind of puts us in a position to where, like you said, we're not grading on the career, we're grading on reality. Like I said, whatever you did, I know for a fact the core is in place in New Orleans, the core is in place in San Antonio, and I loved it. But as far like I said, free agency wise, it wasn't anything to be overly excited about at the end of the
Mm,
day. But they weren't failure moves; they were just average moves, which is cool. But it is what it is.
mm. Okay. What about Solo
Did you?
want to address the Bulls? You giving him a B minus?
Okay, Solo. You got to be minus, and I'm not. Let me tell you something. I'm not changing my grade. Reality is this. Reality is you got to be. I mean, the reason why I give you a B minus, 'cause at the end of the day, Zach LaVine is a one of the, as far as video game is concerned, he one of the best shooting guards on the game, point blank period. And I love Brandon Boston. I do. I think he's can shoot, he can play, or whatever the case may be. But that two dynamic punch was amazing. But I'm curious. I like Colin Sexton and Dante DiVincenzo, which is why it complimented, because they say if somebody presented you a trade, I trade you Colin Sexton and Dante DiVincenzo for Zach LaVine. Most people still gonna say no. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's Zach LaVine, but it wouldn't be. It's not a bad trade. It's not a bad trade off. It's just Zach LaVine is technically, you know what I'm saying, the core guy in it. So if I gotta rank them, I'm ranking Zach LaVine ahead of those two guys. So, but I still think you did solid overall, which is why you got a B minus, because you made do with what you had, and a lot of people ain't doing it. You could have, you figured. Like, I love, honestly, my favorite one. I like Dante DiVincenzo. He actually was a guy that I covered in New York, so I really like the way he plays. He can play both sides of the ball. He shoot. He can defend. He can pass. So he's extremely quick on the game. So I think he's gonna be a great acquisition for you. But he ain't no Zach LaVine at the end of the day.
Yep, I
So
agree.
that's my take.
I agree. Like I said, a B is good. Young Bulls feel
hmm
disrespected. He gonna show y'all this year. Hey, I like it,
I
Solo.
hope so.
I
I
like
like
it.
the confidence.
I like it. I
I don't
like
know.
it.
I hope it means something in the grand scheme of things. Because at the end of the day, Solo, let's talk about ranking users. That's what we need to be talking about. You
Okay.
know what I'm
We
saying?
want to
Because
do.
I'm out. Yeah, go ahead.
So we gonna do a power. I want you to do a power ranking of the user power ranking. We can do that real quick, and then we also can do MVP and depoy ranking.
hmm
We
Okay.
can do those two top five since the award races are being just what our predictions may be.
hmm
All right. So power rankings. How you want to do it? How you want to do it? You want to just start at number one?
You can go
Give
out
our
number.
number.
Or you want to go? Or you want to go up and down? That'd probably be easier. So that way get
Yeah.
people
So
like, okay, cool.
I'm on the standings. I'm going to the
Um,
standings. Is that cool? And then we can just kind of go off
yeah,
of it.
yeah.
You talking about when you say up or down, up to down? Are you saying start from 14 and go up to one, or
Yeah, I mean,
start from one?
how many users we got? We got
I
14
think it's
users, 12
14.
users. Yeah, so we
Let's
can kind of
see.
go from the.
Yeah, it's 14.
Yeah, you want to go? So what y'all want to do? Y'all want to go last to first or first to last? I'll let the people choose.
Mm-hmm.
Best to worst or worst to best? How y'all doing this?
What we could do, shoot. Boy, Kino said we know who last. So we're gonna do a let's just do a top five. Let's do our top five teams in
Okay,
the league. How about that?
okay,
We can do top
okay,
five teams in the league.
okay.
So all right. So we can start at five. We can start at five. Who is your fifth best team in the league, Colin, right now?
Fifth best team in the league. Dude. I'm actually, if I had to think about it, fifth best team. Hmm, man. Okay, I'm gonna say. Let's see. Let me think about my top five. Mhm. 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 I'm gonna say the fifth best team. No, my Rico is BHBCK. Okay, so one of them. Okay. Oh. Okay. I'm gonna say the fifth best team right now is the Denver Nuggets.
Okay, okay. Fifth best team, Denver Nuggets. Fifth best team, Denver
Mhm.
Nuggets. Okay. So with that, anything you want to add, or you just kind of going straight through? We can do fifth, and then you can go to four,
Yeah, we can do
and
that.
then we get okay. So Denver Nuggets five. Who you got as
Uh,
your four? Or you want me to do my fifth?
four. Yeah, yeah. You do your fifth. That way we can keep rolling. Mhm.
Okay, okay,
See if our list line up.
okay, okay. I think mine's this gonna be so funny. Okay, so man, this is tough. My fifth is gonna be. I'm gonna have to go with the Nuggets too. I'm gonna have to go with the Nuggets. I'm gonna have to go with the Nuggets.
Mm,
It's my fifth. Okay. Now you want to do four?
okay. Yeah, I do
I
four.
can do, or I can do my four. We can do it like
Yeah, do
this.
your four. We're gonna rotate. We're gonna rotate. Let's go.
Okay. So my four, man, my four right now. uh, Man, I don't know, bro. Like right now, everything so. Trying to think. All right, I'm gonna change mine. Actually, I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, backtracking. Okay.
I'm gonna change mine real quick, man. This might be a shocker. Let's see. I'm just trying to make sure I got mine right quick, y'all. Give me a little minute. Okay. So my fifth is actually gonna be the San Antonio Spurs.
Okay.
That's my fifth team right now, and I'll explain later as we go. So my fourth team, you go in order. So my fourth team is gonna be the Pelicans. That's my
Okay.
fourth team right now. What's your four?
Okay. Well, my fourth team is the Pelicans. That was my team. That's my fourth team. My fourth team, the Pelicans.
Okay, okay. All right. What's your third team?
Okay. My third team is the Memphis Grizzlies. Actually.
That's your third. Get BHB.
Hmm.
Okay, okay. I think I'll list myself third right now.
Okay. Okay. Now, who your second team?
Second team is the Supersonics.
Okay. The second team, the Supersonics.
All
That's
right.
mine too.
And then number
And I
one,
got the.
the Knicks.
Who you
You got
got?
the Knicks.
Yeah, I got the Knicks too. Yep.
Okay. So
Yep.
look, I got
Yes,
so
sir.
I only got. I'm gonna do a 2 minute explanation or less, probably less than that.
Okay.
So the reason why I backtrack, I felt like the Spurs had took some steps forward last year, and I think
Hmm.
when it came down to it, I think if they matched up, I think the Spurs can take them right now. I think Spurs got a lot of
Mm.
depth, and I think I mean, whatever I saw in the season from them, from the Spurs
Hmm.
at that time, they looked good. Um, so I think that would be a very interesting. What Jay Black said, move the Bulls to the West. I mean, so it's not. I thought that was pretty close. That's why I had to really think about it because I was like, it's really going to depend on and this course can change. These are just early season rankings, but these two teams are
Hmm.
very close, I think. And I think right now I would give the Spurs the edge. Denver, of course, has they went deeper in the playoffs last year, but I think at the end of the day, if these teams matched up, I think we would have a very close series. So I think they
I got
pretty
you.
neck and neck.
Can I be honest with you this? I ain't even trying to be negative or nothing like that. Because my fifth team, I was going between the Spurs and Denver Nuggets. Um, but the thing about it, I was more so thinking about what's happened so far in the postseason versus looking ahead into what's going to happen, what y'all can see happening this season and going forward. So I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I think you're absolutely right. I honestly think in any 7 game series in the Western Conference, whether it's Pelicans, Grizzlies, Bulls, my bad, Solo, you can't go. Whether it's Pelicans, Grizzlies, Sonics, or or any team like that, I wouldn't have Denver favored in any series, honestly. So I agree with you. I honestly think that you're right. So I would honestly, I gotta make this swap. It ain't set in stone. I wrote it in pencil, not in pen. So I got to move San Antonio to fifth too and move Denver to sixth. Real talk.
Okay, okay,
I agree. That's right. I
okay.
mean, because Denver is they probably have the least. In what you said, I think that they're a solid team, and at the end of the day, but it's not about based off it's not based off the past.
Right.
It's based off the present.
Yep.
So presently, the Denver Nuggets are not they're the fifth best team in the Western Conference, and I don't care about
Hmm.
the regular season. It's gonna be happening what happened in postseason. So I agree.
Okay. Okay. I like that. I like that. The reason why I had Pelicans at 4, um, I just think that was a matter of kind of like Pelicans taking a. Seemed like they kind of. I don't know. I think the Pelicans they just got caught in an earlier matchup, which kind of they got caught in an earlier matchup, which kind of messed them up with Portland. But I think when it comes
Mm-hmm.
down to it, like if it was last year or based on last year, I would definitely say Pelicans still ahead. But I think with the
Mm-hmm.
Grizz adding Zach LaVine, adding some pieces that essentially keeping some depth around and adding pieces around Ja and making Ja,
Mm-hmm.
giving Ja more rest and more off ball opportunities with LaVine, it's just gonna be a tougher matchup. And they keep, we keep him
Mm-hmm.
Bumble. So I think it's close. I wouldn't say it's set in
Mm-hmm.
stone either. I think 3 and 4 is kind of swap. You can swap them out, and I think 5 and 6 you can
Mm-hmm.
kind of swap them out possibly. So, but that's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
how I
yeah.
saw it.
I agree. I mean, it's just based off just how it plays out. Cause somebody got to be one, somebody two, somebody got to be three, somebody got to be four. So it's based off that. But the reality of it is, um, it's gonna be interesting to see because any series in the Western Conference can go either way, depending on how you game plan for it. Depending on them shots falling, if the defense intact. So it's gonna be interesting to see how things play out there. And I love the energy because um, their part was simple. So right now we see we got the 5, 6. So let's have a little fun. Rank 7 through 10 because
Seven
at
through
that point
ten.
Solo feel disrespected. I know
Mm.
Keith feel disrespected. DJ just in
Mm.
a world of emotions right now.
All right, 7 through 10. So who outside
Cause we got the
other?
Cavs.
Yep, we got
You
the
know what I'm saying? You got the
Hornets.
Cavs. You got the Hornets. You got the Bulls. You got the
All right,
Suns.
so this how I'm gonna
You
look
got the
at.
Nets.
This how I'm gonna look at it. This how I'm gonna look at it. I think you gotta give. Solo said who is 6. So right now we put Denver at 6. Solo.
Yeah,
So
yeah, Denver
Denver
6
at
right now.
6 and Spurs at 5. So right now we think we agree. Denver 6, San Antonio 5, New
Mm-hmm.
Orleans 4, Memphis 3,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Seattle 2, and Knicks
Mm-hmm.
1. So now we're
Mm-hmm.
doing 7 through 10. So this how I
Uh-huh.
look at 7 through 10. Um, hey, and this is just a part of the thing. Like I think you could argue Solo them Bulls being 7 if they still had Levine. I think. But I think
Mm-hmm.
right now we kind of waiting to see what Sexton and Divin Cheese are made of, like
Mm-hmm.
what they're made of as a combo. So right now, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he's still not far, but right now I can't list him at 7. I just can't.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think who may have to go in 7
Mm-hmm.
is probably gonna have to end up being. Um, I'm gonna have to go with the Hornets.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have
Absolutely.
to go with the
That
Hornets.
was my pick.
I
That's my
mean,
pick. Hornets, same pick.
Hornets. Maybe, like I said, maybe if we were talking about last year, it'll be different. But Hornets, they added Klay Thompson. They added Chris
Mm-hmm.
Boucher. They got JV at the center spot. They kept most of their depth. They lost Hayward, but Hayward and Randall, but you're replacing them with a defensive guy in Boucher, and you replace Hayward with a elite shooter. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Hornets 5 games in already. 5-0. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
these guys are gonna play, man. Like I think, you know, Key feels he said, move us to the West. We won't stand for this disrespect. uh, I think at the end of the day, looking at these Hornets, man, Clay averaging 35, LaMelo averaging 28. They got Kai Jones. This is a deep team. So I
Mhm.
think, they have room to move up into that top five too,
Mhm.
with a couple big wins during the season possibly.
Mhm.
Okay, okay. What about you?
Yeah. Okay, so I got you pick seven. I pick eight. So eight. This was gonna get disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you why I'm gonna say it's disrespectful. Cause regardless of having a big three, a big three with KD, Kyrie, and Harden, okay, that ain't gonna work for me. So I actually got Solo out here at eight. I think the Bulls definitely here at eight because I think they're can go either way because he can actually move up. I think as high as I mean he can move up. I think he got a pretty solid. I'm curious to see how he plays. So I want, but I don't think he's quite better on paper than the seven teams that's ahead of him. But I think he's probably can definitely go head up as far as actually being a user, as far as how he plays in the series. I think he can go head up with Keith for sure,
Hmm.
for to compete for that seventh spot. So, and then it'll be yet to be seen as far as how he would compete against the future, the above six. But definitely he can compete for seven for sure. So I'm
Hmm.
curious to see how that plays out for him this season. And but this is gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. So right now I got him at eight for sure.
Okay. I liked it. I think it was gonna have to be between him and Cleveland. Cleveland was close on my list for eight. Um, and I think it was more so because of the acquisition of Jimmy Butler. I think that team. I think Cleveland. I think I might go with Cleveland at seven. I'm sorry, Solo,
Mm-hmm.
or at eight. I mean, go with Cleveland at eight.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Solo said Cleveland. I mean, look, hey, I like. I mean, look, these are preseason rankings. Solo, Dez Bayless. Hey, these are preseason rankings. Solo, man. So look, at the end of the day, hey, we could get through a few games, and you may see, I'd be like, all right, them Bulls, man, they got to move up. So I just had to put a little. I mean, at the end of the day, man, this Cavs team's a bit stronger. I think with Garland at the one. They lost Sexton, but Garland's he's gonna be nice at that starting point guard spot. I think Jimmy he provides some secondary ball handling duty for him. You know who Osmond is. You know what Osmond provides. You got Covington. We know what Drummond is. On top of him having Aaron Gordon, other defenders. It'll be interesting to see how his bench unit performs though. His bench is probably like his weakest par right now, his weakest asset. But I think just
Mm-hmm.
add a nine. Anytime you add a 90 overall to your team, you got to be taken serious in some form.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's hard to ignore. So I mean, call I got Bulls at eight. I got Cavs at eight. So that's cool. We can do that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So your nine is I'm thinking
The
Cavs.
Cavs.
Yep. And my
Mm-hmm.
nine is Bulls. Okay. All right. So who we got at 10?
Okay, at 10, this is where the disrespect gonna come in at. At 10, I got DJ. I got the Suns.
Mmm.
I got the Suns at 10.
Suns. So
Um,
Suns, Phoenix Suns. Okay.
and the reason why I picked the Suns for 10 is for one, I think he has better depth. He's not really top heavy. Um, and literally, it's three's company in damn Brooklyn. I can't put him ahead of nobody who got at least a fifth damn player. Granted, he got three great players. Understandable, but you can't play them all three of them for 48 minutes.
Hmm.
So that's gonna be tough. And that's why I look at it the way I look at it. So I can't give him that.
Yeah.
So that's mine.
Okay. Um, I think you might be right, man. I think I think the Nets lost a lot. They lost a lot. Um,
Yeah.
and I think at the end of the day, whether you have two of those guys, all three of those guys out there, you essentially can play 5-on-3. Uh,
Mhm.
and I think and at the end of the day, them three just can't run with a team of eight guys who they got two superstars or two star players, and they
Mhm.
they gonna find a way to win. So I think I agree with that. I think Phoenix is that ninth spot, um, or that 10th spot. I'm sorry,
10
and the
spot.
Nets
Yeah.
and the Nets fall outside the top 10.
Hmm.
But this is the Nets. They have to figure something out. They got to figure something out. Right now they 2-0, but it'll be interesting
Yeah.
to see how they're scoring. Like if we go to let's take a look since they played. I actually interested to see who else how they scoring look, and this will be it. So
Hmm.
looking at the Nets scoring,
Yeah, 'cause we're
KD,
not talking about the Hawks.
yeah. So the so the Nets beat the Kings on Christmas Day, 132-89. KD had 34, Harden had 31, Joe Harris has 27, Kyrie had 25. This is what you expect to see. But look at outside
Hmm.
them top four, 14, 18 points scored outside of those
Mm.
guys. 18.
And that's in the sim.
And that's in the sim. That's in the sim. So, um, you know, I it's going like I said, them three guys ain't nothing to mess with. Plus you got Joe Harris who's cooking right now, but it's gonna be difficult for them to win, more so in the playoffs. That's why it's gonna be interesting to see what they do for the season, whether they make a deal or not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
All right, all right. Last two things. I
Okay.
need your I need your MVP vote right now. Just
Mm-hmm.
give me somebody, and then I need a defensive player of the year vote, and then we can carry on, with some later on, the next couple of days or so.
Okay. All right. KD gonna win MVP for the third time because he's the only player on his damn team that can do everything. So I got KD winning MVP just by default. Unfortunately, he don't deserve it, but he'll get it. Um, and I think defensive player of the year. I honestly think it's gonna be Deontay Murray again. I think the way he plays with Deontay Murray, as far as everything, I would definitely give him that. I think the person that will compete behind him, and I'm not even gonna name Kawhi Leonard. I would say is Marcus Smart.
Mm-mm.
If it's not Marcus Smart, I'm gonna go Jimmy Butler. Like them three guys, I think they're gonna be my top three guys in the MVP role this year.
Mm-mm.
Would be Jimmy Butler, Murray, and Marcus Smart. I think I'm gonna be your top three guys for defensive player of the year this year. What you think?
Okay, okay. I think for MVP, I think you you might be right. It probably is gonna be KD. Um, it'll be interesting to see how everything plays out and how it looks, when we start playing more games and stuff. But KD's definitely gonna be up there, most likely. Defensive
Mhm.
player of the year, you know, um, you gotta give Murray his due. I think Murray's gonna be up there, and hold on. I think Murray gotta give Murray his due. I think Tabu gonna be up there. I think he might
Mhm.
be up there as well. Um, And I think another guy to look out. I think Jimmy Butler was a good guy to name, but I think another guy to potentially look out for is Jared Allen. Right now he don't
Mm.
have a lot of. Right now he don't got a lot of blocks in two games. I think, well, one game they played,
Mm.
but I think we might need to watch out for Jared Allen this year. As a
Mm.
big.
I
Okay,
got you. Mitch Robinson gonna be right there with him though.
okay, okay. Mitchell Robinson. Let's see, he got
Mm.
13 and a half boards, 2.5 blocks. Okay, 17 points.
Mm.
Okay,
Mm.
Mitch. Okay. All right, fellas. Okay, well, we appreciate y'all watching. We got anything
Yes,
else come up?
sir. That's all we got, dog. Finna go find me something to eat. What you feeling there, Zach? Zaxby's? Wing Guru?
Man, I don't know, man. I want to eat something and watch the grid, so I need to
Well,
figure
I ain't
out.
watching. I ain't. This ain't a Wing Guru night because I don't know if they gonna win. So.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't do Wing Guru tonight. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I don't wanna. This ain't the night to spend $60 on the ten piece
$65.
on a 10-piece
Yeah.
wing, no fries,
to man to lose. I ain't got time for that, dude.
and then Jaron Jackson still out. All right.
Man, that boy there, that crap ridiculous, man.
Okay.
Like, play
Okay.
your game, son. Sheesh.
Okay. Okay. But all right, man. I'm glad y'all's tuned in. This was fun. We'll have more coming later. So
Hmm.
we got games to play. Remember, 24 games minimum. Um,
10 this week.
hey,
Yeah,
hey, you can push for 10 this week. Hey, I put you play
yeah,
10, play 10. Do what you
yeah, that's
can.
what I'm saying. 10 to cap. Yeah. So, to the
Trade
user that's
deadline.
listening, play at least 5 damn games, please. Sheesh.
Trade deadline opens up Saturday evening. So have your trades ready. You know, we can look at them, be able to review. It's gonna be a big year. We done had two different champions already, one from the West, one from the East. So we'll see who the tiebreaker gonna be year three. Talk to y'all
Mm.
later.
All right. I'm out.